Hey, what is up, mortals? It is Trina2Heart here with a new video for you. Welcome to part 2 of What If Uraraka Was an Electromaster? I just wanted to greet you guys by just saying, sit back and relax, you're in for a treat. So we begin. Days passed and became even closer to Uraraka to begin her first term at the school she secretly despised, UA High. After her diploma was literally thrown at her face, she was informed that she would be moving to another dorm immediately. To another prison, she thought. But after she was given further info, she realized that she was being sent to her own personal hell. Indeed, Ochako Uraraka would be living in a UA dorm built with her in mind. Eraserhead had requested it to make it easier to keep an eye on her, and so it was built in secret throughout the last few days. She would be housed there throughout the 3 years without the hope of escaping, as everyone in the school personnel would ensure that she remained within the school grounds at all times, unless accompanied by one of them. Screaming wouldn't be enough to calm herself this time, so on her last day, she escaped the middle school dorm, expecting to make the most of it before Aizawa tracked her down. Augmenting her speed with her quirk, she jumped across the rooftops of the beautiful shining city, searching for something fun to do right now. But as she almost slipped, she spotted a blonde chick hiding in an alleyway as police drones patrolled nearby.
Hey, would you mind some company?
Uraraka asked as she landed near the blonde.
Depend on who's asking,
she replied while pointing with a knife.
Just someone who ran away from home,
Ochako admitted, getting a bit closer until the mysterious girl lowered her weapon.
Same! Give me a high five!
Both girls gave each other high fives and then sat down to chat. At no point had it been slow, as the girl now known as Himiko Toga never allowed for it to die down.
So you're telling me that your parents took off with your prestigious quirk money and left you to rot in the equivalent of an educational orphanage? Pretty much. I haven't seen them in years. They lost all interest in me and went to travel the world instead. The worst part is that someone from the government decided to place me under the supervision of a pro hero that doesn't allow me to do anything without bothering me to death.
Ochako retold a summarized version of her tales, of which she had many. Himiko took hold of both of Nailgun's hands, and with an adorable yet creepy smile, she then prepared herself to share her secrets.
We are so similar, Ochako!
In total bliss, she exclaimed,
My parents disowned me after I sucked my crush almost dry off his blood supply. They threw me out without caring how I felt. Not like it was everything they did, as they forced me to hide my true self for so long. And now that I'm out, I'll never go back. I'll live my life doing whatever I want with no regrets.
What the vampire girl had just confessed would be rather hard for most to swallow, but in a way, this resonated greatly with Uraraka. Immediately, she held Toga's hands tightly as if they were besties.
Hell yeah! That's what I'm talking about!
The recent graduate yelled passionately in agreement. She felt identified. After that, both girls became friends and exchanged contact info for future meetups. The duo was so happy to find someone who finally understood them.
Well, I'll take my leave now. Nice chat, Coco!
Himiko said with a wave of her hand. She had taken the final syllable of her new friend's name and repeated it to create a cute nickname.
See ya, Toga!
Uraraka exclaimed with joy and a hint of sadness as she saw her leave. She had finally made a friend, but now it'd be super hard to meet up with her again. Jumping towards the rooftops once more, she felt constrained as some familiar binds pinned her down mid-jump.
Don't resist, Nailgun. If you behave, I'll get you some of that grilled meat you like,
Aizawa told her in a serious yet calm tone. He wasn't as mad as usual.
Fine, I'll come peacefully, but only if you get me a big order.
Even while dangling, she still had the guts to barter.
I'll get you a medium one and a dessert on the side. Deal?
Deal!
With a smug grin, she was released from the binds, and both she and Shota began to jump throughout the city tops until they reached a small establishment that sold grilled meat among other fancy meats. Eraserhead had heard a good part of the conversation between the girls, and to some extent, he felt a bit of guilt for being so strict with the girl under his care. Ochako wasn't a bad child per se, she just felt enclosed in a tiny box that she frequently broke out of. Changing his approach moving forward could allow her to change for the better. The electric girl had munched on so much grilled meat that she felt like standing up would be impossible, and she hadn't even had dessert yet. Meanwhile, Aizawa had taken the chance to chug down a few beers. It wouldn't hurt to be a bit numb for the next few hours.
Hey, kid,
he said, trying to get her attention.
What is it, Eraserhead?
The too-full girl tried to speak, but each time she finished a word, she felt like puking, and these wouldn't be rainbows.
I've been quite strict since I was assigned to you, and I feel that my way of handling it wasn't the best. So now I'll be more flexible as long as you behave. Earn my trust, and I'll allow you to gain some of those privileges that you want.
It wasn't clear if the alcohol had influenced him, but Eraserhead had indeed just said this out loud to the girl under his care.
For reals?
Her voice was heard and even echoed throughout the small restaurant as she had stood up just after hearing a miracle in spoken form.
As long as you earn it, I'll be sure to keep the end of my deal. But keep in mind that it will also work in reverse if you break the rules or betray my trust. So be sure to do your best not to get to that point, okay?
I'll do my best.
Ochako exclaimed for her now drunk tutor to hear. It was a promise from the bottom of her heart. Those privileges would be hers. The first day at UA finally arrived, and as she opened the door to her classroom, she found a cocky blonde guy loudly arguing against a tall student with glasses. They didn't seem to mind her presence, so she closed the door behind her and began to make her way to take a seat. But at that moment, she saw the broccoli negating stalker in there. She lost her cool.
You again?
She screamed at him while containing the urge to shoot him up with a lightning barrage until he blew up.
Not you again.
The boy whined as he lowered his head onto his student desk.
Yo, Deku! Why'd you tell me you had a knockoff of me in girl form?
Bakugo yelled, considering it quite the occasion to do so with a girl such as Ochako present.
Curse my luck.
Deku cried out silently.
Knockoff, you say? I'll show you who's a knockoff, you loudmouth dick!
A flaming rage had consumed the girl, and nothing would put her out until she clobbered this guy into the ground.
Whoa.
Standing up, he got ready to fight the badass girl who was challenging him. She was turning him on.
Bring it on then, short ass!
A fight would have ensued between the two hot-tempered teens, but their homeroom teacher arrived to start the class. Aizawa wasn't impressed that they had butted heads already. It was more impressive to see that they hadn't killed each other due to him being late. The first day here, a Sunday, should have been the day of the opening ceremony, but Eraserhead had another idea. His class would be taking the quirk apprehension test, and whoever placed last would be expelled. Uraraka knew that this was the perfect chance to show superiority against the spiky blonde who insulted her height. A fight could come at a later date. After the test concluded, Ochako saw that she wasn't in first place or even second place for that matter. She was in third place below the other two recommended students, Momo and Todoroki. The feeling of defeat washed over her upon realizing that she was the worst of the recommendations. But at least she was above that Katsuki guy who had ended just below her.
How's that, huh? Cat got your tongue?
The girl teased, seeing if he would bite the bait.
Whatever.
Bakugo walked off without giving her the satisfaction of seeing the frustration in his eyes. As previously stated, the lowest scoring student would be expelled on the spot, and in this case, it was the short great boy, Mineta. In tears, he pleaded for mercy, but Aizawa laughed in his face and told him that there was no mercy to give. In a desperate move, the perverted gremlin tried to grope one of the girls, but he was intercepted by Nailgun's lightning spear right to the head, almost frying his little brain, but most certainly knocking him out. Right after he was expelled and his actions were reported to the police department, Minoru Mineta would be going through some heavy stuff going forward. On that night, Ochako enjoyed talking Toga through voice chat, telling her all the things she had done today alongside her distaste for tomorrow's actual classes. Himiko laughed it all off and told her that if she didn't want to do it, then she should not do it. Spending her precious time on things that bothered her would be such a waste. Uraraka wanted to agree with her friend, but with Eraserhead's deal in mind, she needed to try to be a good student. Her future was counting on that. Now in full lying mode, the hot-tempered girl agreed with Miss Vampire about it, convincing her and gaining more trust. A little lie wouldn't hurt, right? Keeping the friendship strong was more important after all. The next day soon came, and Nailgun was forced to go through many classes that bored the hell out of her mind. None of these were any good. Like, what was the point of them teaching us the very language we already speak? Were we in kindergarten? President Mike turned his head and stared at the girl with a serious look, scaring her quite a bit. Was he able to hear her thoughts? At noon, she feasted at the cafeteria. Lunch Rush was such a good cook, she thought while munching. No manners were there to see on the girl's part. A wild animal was eating loudly for all to hear.
Be sure not to choke on that,
was heard from behind. Katsuki Bakugo was approaching her.
I appreciate your advice, but you should be looking where you're going.
An angered Uraraka mentioned while attempting to make him fall by sweeping his leg. He easily dodged it and sat across from her. Both teens entered into quite the stare at him. But eventually, this ceased as they resumed eating their meal.
So, what's your deal with Deku?
The wild chili pepper asked.
This stalker?
She momentarily wondered.
He's just been a pain in the ass every time I meet him. He thinks that he needs to save me even though I can take care of myself.
Just thinking about it made the living Ultra Taser chug down her entire drink.
You too, eh? Can relate. Ever since we were little, he's been like that.
Blonde made explosions, commented, and took a massive bite from his burger.
But that's not all. He keeps claiming that he's quirkless, even though it's obvious he's not.
What? He negated your attacks too?
The boy then asked with a passion. He was seeking validation.
Yeah, the moment they made contact with his right hand, they disappeared.
Ochako exclaimed.
So I'm not crazy after all.
Explosions of celebration surfaced from his hands after hearing this. That damn nerd was hiding a quirk. Surprisingly, the bad attitudes directed between Uraraka and Bakugo faded away the more they got to talk about the broccoli stalker. It was a topic they could both converse and agree about. Could this become yet another friendship for the Electromaster? Only time will tell.
Time to go. We don't want to be late for heroics, right?
Bakugo said while discarding his empty tray.
Yeah, heroics.
Deep within, Ochako knew that she would hate this class the most. This must be a joke! Am I not in this chapter at all? Even though I'm in the same school as Nailgun. Clear bias. Well, no matter. The queen of Class 1C is here to tell you about our sponsor, Honey. Honey is a free browser add-on available on Google, Opera, Firefox, and even Safari. If it's a browser, it has Honey. Honey automatically saves you money when you check out on sites like Amazon, Papa John's, and Kohl's. Wherever you shop, it's a good chance that Honey can save you money. All you have to do when you're checking out at these stores is click the small orange button, and it will scan the entire internet to find discount codes for you. If there is a coupon code, they will find it. And if there's not a coupon code, you can rest assured that you are getting the best price possible. If you install Honey right now, you can save $50 to $100 on your shopping, doing nothing. There's no reason not to install Honey. It takes 2 clicks, 10 million people use it, 100,000 5-star reviews. Unless you hate money, you should install Honey. Most of Class 1A could barely contain their excitement to see what hero would be their heroics teacher. It had been kept under lock, so nobody had a clue. But it being a secret must have meant that it was going to be a well-known hero. And they weren't wrong. All Might had arrived. A vein popped into view from Uraraka's forehead as her rage began to take control of her. The electricity was already beginning to spark out. This useless piece of a hero was her heroics teacher?
It's me!
All Might announced as he made his grand entrance. He was even wearing the same suit that he had on that day.
I arrived through the door like a oh shit!
Dodging the lightning bolt shot his way became a priority as he quickly moved away. It would have struck him right between the eyes if he hadn't jumped away. The impact had left the wall by the door with a circular scorch mark. The Electromaster's eyes watered as she tried her hardest to control her outburst, but seeing him in person made it near impossible. Her raw emotions were dictating her actions. Why did it have to be him? There were thousands of qualified heroes in Japan, so why did it have to be him? Upon hearing the commotion alongside the sound that was heard across the campus, Aizawa soon came through the back door and erased her quirk, returning some semblance of normalcy to the classroom. He then took her to the teacher's lounge for a quick talk. She was a mess at the moment, and some tears had managed to escape those big eyes of hers.
What made you attack your teacher?
Eraserhead questioned, avoiding the use of the name on purpose.
I hate him the most.
Between tears, the girl responded. She was trying to contain those emotions that were eating her alive.
Are you willing to give me some details as to why?
Ochako moved her head from side to side to signal that she wasn't ready to talk about the topic. Upon seeing this, Eraserhead decided not to push farther, and decided that she should go back to class once she got her emotions in check.
I saw what you wrote in your hero suit papers. Was it necessary to send them such a vulgar response?
He asked, trying to divert her attention to something else. Now a bit more recomposed, she sat down correctly, now ready to answer whatever needed to be answered.
I don't want to be a hero,
Ochako muttered. It couldn't be a more sincere response from her.
Even so, I want you to write them an apology. I'll make sure to get those papers to your room later today, so make sure to give them a heartfelt apology alongside actual design details for a hero suit. I'll review it once you submit it, so don't think that'll get past me.
Their homeroom teacher told her, the hopes for improvement still on the back of his mind. With a pretty extended sigh, she agreed to do it later in the day, and now that she seemed calm, she was allowed to return to her class. In the time she had been gone, her classmates had begun to switch into their hero suits, so she too switched to a more comfortable attire. Moments later, she was ready to debut in glorious fashion. Her black tank top, alongside her gym pants, would do nicely in the field. Once all the students were in front of him, All Might explained the trial that would be taking place. Everyone would be split into 2-person teams, and they would then be designated as either heroes or villains. The villains would guard a nuclear core while the heroes would try to stop them. If the heroes captured the villains or touched the nuclear core before time ran out, they would win. Otherwise, if the villains captured the heroes or prevented them from making contact with the core within the given time, then they would win. A box lottery decided the teams, and as if the universe had a personal vendetta against our protagonist, she was paired up with Izuku Midoriya, her infamous stalker. I truly have rotten luck, the boy cried upon hearing it. Luck was always absent from his life.
Great! Now I have to work alongside him as well? This day keeps getting worse with each passing second!
The ranting within her head allowed her exterior appearance to remain normal. At least, nobody would suspect her this time around. This all changed when the combat pairs were announced. She would be fighting the Chili Pepper and the Running Glasses guy. Hey, short ass! She heard from behind her, turning around to see the boy she had eaten lunch with less than an hour ago. Attacking All Might is off limits, you caught that? Try to harm my idol in front of me again, and I'll make sure that you never use that quirk of yours again. Many explosions were released alongside the threat, a threat that didn't intimidate Nailgun whatsoever.
Your idol?
Upon processing this fact, she immediately marked Katsuki Bakugo as a true enemy, someone that could never be friends with her. Whoever idolized that shiny excitement of a hero deserved to be burned away.
Is that so? Then you better watch yourself because this short ass will make the All Might fanboy within you cry out for mercy.
She shot right back at him, giving him the widest grin imaginable. The villains went inside the building while Uraraka and Midoriya stood outside awaiting the signal. So why did you shoot All Might? Izuku had been wondering since she did it, so now he took the chance to ask.
That's none of your fucking business!
Everyone in the spectator room had heard her loud and clear. I see. Well, just know that if you need to let things out, I'm always here to help. With a smile, he told her this. She didn't deserve it, but it was only fitting to help someone in need.
Did Eraserhead send you? Is he paying you to do this?
Ochako whispered into his ear. This assumption did have some merit to it.
Because if he is, I'm willing to pay you double so you get it off my back.
Midoriya looked somewhat confused after hearing this. Why would her homeroom teacher hire a student to spy on another student? Ochako began to think of the possibilities. Could he be lying? Playing dumb? Or was that he was actually telling the truth? Had he been doing this since the beginning? No, that was highly improbable. But it was suspicious that he was also in UA alongside her. That she couldn't deny. This guy was hiding something. The authorization came soon enough, and the team went in to win this match. Less than a minute in, they were stopped by the sudden appearance of Bakugo. This is as far as you go, heroes! He loudly stated while trying to appear imposing.
You can go ahead, Rotten Luck. I'll take care of this one personally.
Uraraka was ready to destroy the explosive boy's career. Izuku agreed and ran ahead, wondering why Rotten Luck had become his new nickname.
Rampage Dress!
Ochako Uraraka wasn't going to hold back. She was going at full throttle. Rampage Dress was a physical strengthening technique that she had developed over the years of training. By manipulating the electrical signals within her cells, she could draw out further strength to surpass her physical limits. The only drawback was that if she pushed herself too hard while using it, she could harm herself quite severely. With the speed of lightning, she kicked Bakugo's teeth right in, shattering them. He wasn't able to react and was then punched into a wall. The screams were then heard as he received 2 nail guns to his legs. Fearing for his life, Katsuki tried to use his build-up gauntlet, but upon the release phase, another nail gun was shot. This time went straight through the gauntlet, causing a colossal explosion that almost took the holder's arm clean off. The screams grew louder until he blacked out. The pain had made it happen. The next instant, Ochako rushed upstairs and faced Ida, who annoyed her a bit. So, to get him off her trail, she kicked his leg so hard that his femur broke in multiple areas. Without caring for the now-collapsed foe, she touched the warhead and won the match. No praises came from her way as the medical team quickly rushed in to take the 2 heavily injured boys to receive immediate medical care. Izuku just watched in awe at the atrocity that his teammate had committed. He just exited the building, leaving her behind. Reality began to set in as the pink-cheeked girl realized what she had done. But as she was going to run off, All Might reached out to her. Young lady, we must speak. It would be best if you learned to... His big hand had almost been placed on her shoulder, but a bolt of lightning deflected it away.
Don't you dare touch me!
She cried out.
And keep those lectures to yourself!
The number 1 hero was unable to stop her as she broke through the window and ran off to check on those she had injured. Upon reaching the medical room, she could hear an older lady talking to someone with what sounded like a voice changer. It was quite muffled, so she couldn't tell, and by the time she made it close enough, only the old lady was speaking.
Besides, the progress shown today only further proves that the Yoda supercomputer was correct. Wouldn't you agree, Original?
Recovery Girl had turned her head towards the eavesdropping teen, turning off her monitor right after. Fear struck Ochako Uraraka as in front of her was the same short old lady from her nightmares. She was real.
What do you mean by original?
The Electromaster asked, getting closer to the terrifying granny.
Oh, dearie. Where should I begin?
Thank you all for indulging yourselves in all this information thus far. I hope you enjoyed it. Now there are a few more things that I'd like to go over before the video ends. If you're in the mood for some great storytelling, We the Celestials has you covered. Our We the Celestials, My Hero Academia, and Naruto What If channels retell the story of the namesake anime with a twist. Check it out if you're interested. Next, on behalf of We the Celestials, I'd like to thank everyone involved in today's excellent content production. Their details can be found in the description below. Lastly, if you're interested in what we do here at We the Celestials, I'd like to send an invitation to join the team. The only caveat is that we only accept members from 16 years old to join our crew. You can sign up for whichever category fills your interest by joining the recruitment Discord using the link in the description below. We're always looking for members to join us. And if you want more content from me, check me out on Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at Trina Do Hard. Well, that's it from us for today's video. So thank you all for watching, and have a great day!